Hi, today I'm talking about 4 dystopian kind of post-apocalyptic YA books, or beginning of series. So they're all the book 1 in their series, and so far I think only one of them has book 2 out. But if you want to skip ahead to the specific book, check the description box down below. But the first one I'm going to talk about is called Against the Ruins by Saewod Tice. Unusual name. And it's the first book in the Chronicles of 2020. Now this book did not feel remotely dystopian to me. Like the only thing that separated it from kind of like a fantasy medieval kind of feel was the mention of jeans, and towards the end there was a few trucks in it. But besides that, it didn't really feel dystopian to me. This book is about a girl called Shiloh, and in this world women aren't treated very well. They're just kind of, made to be, sold as wives, and a lot of people look the same, brown hair I think. But Shiloh in this, she has like really white hair, and she's very unusual, so her mother's kind of worried that, some man will want to take her. And then, this book moves very quickly. It takes place over years. You see Shiloh, she grows up and she travels around this world and meets new people. And her family end up moving in with this kind of like king or lord or something. And it's all kind of like, she's very reluctant to marry in this world. And yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. I don't really want to spoil it, but that's kind of the gist of it. And at some points in this book I would have given it 4.5 stars. I loved the story, but the infuriating main character Shiloh brought it down for me. I hate it when authors try too hard to go against the female stereotype in these predominantly male kind of book worlds. Like, we get it. Women aren't just baby makers. They can train and fight as hard as men. They can best a man, and Shiloh constantly declares, I can take care of myself. So that can go annoying for me very quickly. Why can't there be a subtle girl power instead of screaming in our faces constantly with this main character? She's so against marriage and having babies and all that she just turns her into a selfish brat. And the way she treats Cain, which is kind of like her male suitor in this book, the way she treats him is awful. I felt so bad for him. But except for Shiloh, I think it's a great book, and the story is exciting, and there's some good characters in there, but Shiloh, she just kind of brings it down a little bit. And there were some lovely relationships in there. They took a while to form, but they were lovely, and I do really want to read the second book. I've checked, and I've read nothing about when it's coming out yet, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, I do think it's a good book, just a little bit of warning about Shiloh. But yeah, so that's my review on Against the Ruins. So the second book I'm reviewing is called The Fifth Wave by Yancey, and it's the first book in the Fifth Wave series. Again, I'm not sure when the second one is out, but I'll have to check it out. This book is kind of post-apocalyptic, but it's about aliens. So what happens after Earth gets invaded by aliens? It's about a girl called Cassie, and it's mostly from her point of view, and about how her and her dad and her brother kind of survive while Earth is being savaged by aliens, and then their kind of journey throughout, and then some other characters get involved too. And there's different waves of disasters. So our main character Cassie, she kind of goes through the other waves about how people, like billions of people die through each wave of their alien attack. And this book then is kind of the fifth wave. So this very long book was very up and down for me. At the beginning I loved it, like the quote by Stephen Hawking and the prologue at the beginning gave me chills. I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant, this is going to be so creepy and exciting. And but then after a while, around the time the book kind of switched points of view, I just started to lose interest. So yeah, the Cassie narrates for the main chunk, but after a while there's other characters narrating, and I wasn't crazy about that. I was actually on the verge of not continuing. But then after a few skim chapters, things started to pick up and all the elements of the story were coming together, and it got a bit exciting again. Then it ended with an exciting bang, and it really made me want to read the second one. I loved Evan, he's a character in it. I loved him after we found out the truth about him, and he's such a cool character. Sammy is Cassie's little brother, and he's just the cutest little thing. Another narrator in the book is Ben/Zombie. I wasn't crazy about his part. So, I mean, it has an exciting plot if it, if it didn't focus on the minor details of the past, and didn't lag in the middle. If you ignore that part, it was an exciting plot, and it has a potentially amazing relationship in there, I think. So yeah, I definitely will read the second book. But yeah, it's unusual how I loved it at the beginning and then lost interest in the middle and then kind of liked it at the end again. Just be warned about that. And that's my review on that. The third book I'm talking about is called The Breeders by Katie French, and it's the first book in the Breeders series. Their second book is coming out sometime around November, I want to say. September, October, November, sometime around then. So this book, it took me a while to get into, but once I did, I really started to like it. I love the premise, and the main kind of male character, Clay, in it, he was great. So the premise is another kind of dystopian world, again, where women are very rare, and they're kind of sold to these breeders to make children because the population needs to be built up because of the lack of women, and so it's terrifying to be a woman in this world. Like if they're found, they're immediately sold to these horrible labs people just fear, called the breeders. And our main character, Riley, she cuts her hair like a boy and she tries to pretend she's a boy. And her family kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, so no one can find out. At the beginning of the story, she needs to rescue someone, so she wants to go away and rescue that person, and it's a bit dangerous for her because she's a girl. And so I like that story to it. There were a few frustrating parts of it, like the constant rescue attempts, and Riley not caring that it was suicide, and when she was going off to rescue someone, other people had to go with her, so they were getting in trouble too, so that was a bit frustrating. Like that stubbornness of the main character can get annoying. So yeah, I like the book, and there was a nice relationship in there. I don't know, there was just something missing. Like, I probably will check out the second book. So like it could have been much better. I don't know, there was just something missing. If you read it, let me know what you thought about it. But it was good, but it could have been just a little bit better. The final book I'm talking about is called State of Emergency by Summer Lane. And the second book is out in this series. I might get around to reading it, I'll see. But this is again a post-apocalyptic kind of world where everything's normal and suddenly all electricity is gone, nothing works. Our main character, Cassidy, is up kind of hiking in the mountains, and she's alone, and then she meets a survivor, and they kind of band together. So obviously, end of the world, busy, crazy time. So there was a nice relationship between Cassidy and Chris, who was the other survivor that she found, and that was nice. And the book was exciting and emotional, but it wasn't too depressing, which I really appreciated, because a lot of these types of books can get extremely depressing. What was strange though was that Chris, he had such a lightheartedness that was just strange in this situation. I don't know, it just seemed out of place. But I was glad he wasn't like too brooding and serious. Cassidy, she was kind of forgettable as the main character, but she was fine. They were sweet as a couple. I'm not sure how about the ending. It was a bit of a cliffhanger ending. And like I said when I finished the first book, I would read the second, and it's out now, and I still haven't read it, so I'm not sure whether I will. Like, it was a good book, but it wasn't like amazing. So I'm kind of getting a bit stricter with the books I read in series. Like a lot of series, I just stop. If I'm not really, really into it, I won't read the next one. And I always say, I'll go back to it another time, but I never do, and that just proves that I mustn't be good enough to make you want to read the next one. So yeah, it was okay. So there are the 4 kind of dystopian, kind of post-apocalyptic books in YA series. I read in the last few months. So if you know any other books in that type of genre, that dystopian post-apocalyptic, I kind of prefer, I don't know which one I prefer, but let me know, and thank you very much for watching.